Hi, I'm Noah, and I'm roasting every US president in order again. Today I'll be roasting 11th president and a man who looks like a gopher's houseboy, James K. Polk. Polk was a protege of Andrew Jackson and was so tied to the older man that people called him Young Hickory as a reference to Jackson's Old Hickory nickname. That must have been really reassuring to everyone whose problem with Jackson, the slave-holding, violent, vindictive, genocidal authoritarian, was that he was too old. With the help of Jackson, Polk became the Speaker of the House, where he tried to enforce the gag rule against debates over slavery, but often found himself drawn into shouting matches against the anti-slavery John Quincy Adams. On the one hand, it was rude of Adams to keep trying to bring up a topic that the House had banned, but on the other, it was even more rude of Polk to keep yelling about how he deserved to own human beings. Polk left the House because he felt that his party, the Democrats, were about to lose control and instead went home to run for governor of Tennessee, which he won, but after an uneventful first term, lost re-election and then lost by an even bigger margin when he ran again 2 years later. Polk was right that big losses were incoming. He was just wrong when he assumed that he had nothing to do with them. Despite his losses, Polk was able to secure the Democratic nomination for president in 1844, largely because he and Andrew Jackson agreed on annexing Texas and further expanding slavery, leading Jackson to pull strings for Polk. It makes sense that Polk got the nomination through Jackson's help, since, as a slaveholder, he was used to people creating profit for him that he'd done nothing to earn. Polk won the election in 1844 narrowly. His margin of victory in the deciding state of New York over his opponent Henry Clay, also a Southern slaveholder, was less than the total votes cast for third-party anti-slavery candidate Joseph Birney. The majority of voters couldn't agree on a candidate, but they could agree on one thing: not James K. Polk. In his inaugural address, Polk referred to Texas, which had broken away from Mexico under the influence of American-born immigrants, as part of the United States, and said that what happened to it was no one's business except for the US and Texas, not even Mexico. And that bold foreign policy stance worked out perfectly with absolutely no Aw, darn. Alright, please consider donating to help the family that I sponsor in Gaza. If you'd like to support me or watch bonus videos, please check out my Then let me know who else to roast, and join me next time for part 2 of my roast of 11th president and a man who looks like a leprechaun trying to go under the radar, James K. Polk.